So I was going to show off today me just trying out this Claude extension tool. And so I'm sure this is maybe something that's more widely used than I would have, for me, it's like my first one would have, whoa. So some people might look at this and say, oh, you weren't using that already. But so you can download this web extension from the Chrome store, Claude web extension. And then you can just install it onto Chrome. Then you click on this icon up top for extensions, and then you click it you'll see Claude, and then you click it to make sure it's just sticky or pinned. And then on the website, I was looking at this particular website, trying to research. You can open up the Claude extension this way. Obviously, like select your model or whatever, but it's more important that you can just chat with what is on the page. And so I don't even know what button I just hit there. So I was just looking to sort of explore more about, these are basically repositories of skills that this tool Hermes relies upon. And so I asked, tell me more about how widely used the following skills repositories are. Tell me if they are reported to cause any security issues, or if what users generally report on as the quality. And so then I'm just going to copy paste the text from the page so it can help identify what I was looking at. And then this is so cool. Like, it'll just basically parse it. And then, here's its plan to do research. And so it's basically trying to give you verbosity of like what exactly you're staging up to do. So I'm going to say approved plan. I think you should always leave this on ask before acting, because through one of these channels, it could be possible that you land on a site, and that site has like an infinite number of ways to include something that could try to take over your agent. And it's not to say that that's definitely going to compromise you, but it's definitely the level that it could. Because in general, you probably won't have, and look, so it's going to start crawling automatically first. But going back to security while this thing crawls and gets us this answer. And that's the part, by the way, that I found so cool, is that it's just automatically crawling. But yeah, so, on security, it's like generally you have a browser sandbox, and it's a pretty serious escalation exploit if it's able to get out of the browser sandbox and get into the actual, the browser kernel, so to speak, so that it can get into your other tabs. Because basically your credentials live in a browser sandbox in a tab. So it's very difficult, or it would be problematic in a big way if there was an ability for one page to sort of get out of the specific tab. Now, there are some issues, like we'd have to go look at it. Oh, this is interesting. Why did it stop? It gave us an error there. But so we'd have to look at the permissions that it's giving. So let's go to this and let's go look at it. So basically, if it has certain permissions in the extension, then it does have permissions to jump across tabs, which is where you could have issues. So user activity. So in this tells you right here. So this is the surface area that could get compromised. So we're going back to why when you work with it, you should always have this ask before acting turned on. And so if we look at this stuff, I'm not worried about. This stuff, not so worried about. Location could be interesting. Web history. Yeah. And so it depends. I wish we could get a deeper dive at what exactly we want to look at what's called their manifest. Maybe we can get at it this way. So let's look at the response that it posts, and we'll go jump around and look at it. Here's the breakdown. So it's saying that no community security incidents reported. They go through same scanner, all hub skills. fine. But yeah, there's no telling what a skill could trick an LLM into doing. Quality, gold standard, fine. Security. So now it's going over, we're looking at SkillsDB, which is for solution. Security vulnerabilities. I mean, this is amazing because if you think about it from like the point of view of like just the VS Code store, which installs it. Extensions, by the way, if you're not picking up on this, are an obvious like vector of attack because you're giving control to your system pretty much. So the fact is like you had VS Code extensions like hijack user stuff. So the fact that there's nothing going on here. Naming collisions, okay. Broadly well regarded. Well, that's pretty cool. Like I haven't personally dove into these yet, but they're basically these are like emergent GitHub style repositories of things that can be useful to AI. This is interesting. This is saying well known is like, so we can ask it, but I think it's basically saying well known. Let's just go look at it. Well known URL discovery. Well known URI. Nothing's coming up for it. That's weird. Yeah, well known to me usually corresponds with. Here, let's look at Mintlify. The intelligence knowledge platform helps teams create and maintain world-class documentation. Okay. By the way, if this is what this, no, this isn't looking like what we'd expect. What? That's weird. Okay. What is well known in this? Okay, and it says it right here. This is not a centralized hub, but a web convention. Oh, that's so cool. I didn't even know this existed. So this is basically like a web standard that says that, what is it saying? It's saying that if you just put this here and you're well known, because well known is known for like SSL authorities. So you're basically making yourself discoverable to search engines. Wow. That's cool. So that's like how you could drive agent or what do they call it? Agentic, whatever. There's SEO and then there's AEO. So agent AI engine optimization, so that you appear in AIs more. You could just list your skills. Yeah, same thing here. Decentralized nature is the main risk surface. So you could ingest it, but it's like it's also like, whoa there. Easy, buddy. Entirely dependent, URL direct. Okay. Okay, so I'd almost say like I think there is like a skill hub. There's Claw Hub. It's a weird domain. Oh, that looks like real slop. Someone put me at this other site, SkillsDirectory. So SkillsDirectory is where they sent me the other day. But like I really couldn't get a good set. Like this guy forwarded me to the skill and it was just junk. It's like we could go for like Vue.js, for example. And like whatever the ones that I looked at on the skills site were just not. Here's this, man, the amount of people just vibe coding just slop, dude. Claude Marketplace, okay. Load Hub. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys, this is just browsing with Claude where, you know, you can just interact with the page you're on. You know, just be careful with the security concerns because, and we'll go revisit that. We'll try to go and look at this. So we go to manage extension. And then, yes, here, this is the permissions page we wanted. So access this page, and ideally, let me go one step further. Extension options, view in Chrome Web Store. No, we don't want that. We want. So we're trying to get something called its manifest. Is there a way? We'll ask the AI right here. Can I view the manifest of this extension? navigate the extensions manifest by accessing. Yeah, that sounds right. Go ahead, do it, buddy. So I mean, this gets so meta, and honestly, it's kind of like from the point of view of just an energy consumption issue. I know that's a weird moment to introduce that topic, but it's just like, I don't know. Are we going to get to a point where we're like, man, why you got to use an AI? You're just like burning compute and energy. So it's saying, I guess it's saying it wants me to navigate to this page. Here, this is what we're looking for. So this is what this extension gives you, and then we're specifically looking for somewhere in here. So web accessible resources, this is okay. This is maybe saying that these are resources that I allow to bring into the application, so it's not going to run arbitrary code here. So this is just saying active tab, which is not that big of a deal. Storage, let's see, scripting, debugger, tab groups. Yeah, having tabs. If you have access to tabs, you basically have the access to run arbitrary JavaScript in there. And so the danger is that somebody hijacks your Claude to run arbitrary code inside the tabs, and then it could possibly exfiltrate. But a lot of that is going to depend upon probably the content security policy. So right here. So I'd have to look. So this just says because it applies to extension pages. So it's not as though that it may apply to this content. This is called the content context versus this is like the page context. I forget what this is called exactly in extension land, but it's like a content sandbox that has the access to the markup and it has access to like the media on the page, but not the same JavaScript execution context. So you can't really exfiltrate stuff out by design. But I'm not going to go too deep into some of this area because I don't want to talk about all the things that kind of I'm aware of in this space. But basically, it's possible. It's possible that somebody could trick this. And I'm just giving this like a brief glance. We could study it further, but just for the sake of this video, just use ask before acting, and just be aware that like if you find it kind of crawling random sites, that there's a good possibility that it could just embed malicious, stuff somewhere. That even if you had like a social site that doesn't like someone could post on Reddit, for example, with just something that's plainly designed to try to trick a prompt. So more and more probably we'll see occurrence of that. Anyway, okay, I'm hopping off. This was just us using the Claude Chrome extension to just augment and browse the web, because you sort of get to this point where you start realizing that your information retrieval and now your ability to like navigate the browser itself, it all can be automated. And it's kind of like once you go in that direction, it becomes at least a tool in the tool belt. All right, till next time.